So good. All right, family, as you can see, we are blessed and privileged to have with us several healthcare professionals who are a part of our house. And they're going to be sharing some valuable insight and wisdom. You know, this is the kind of information that you can never hear enough, that you can never re-engage with enough. So we're excited to have this conversation. I'm going to allow these ladies to introduce themselves. Miss Diane, go ahead and tell us your name and how long you have been a nurse, an RN.
Hi, good morning. I'm Diana. I've been in healthcare for 11 years. I started off as an LPN, and I've been an RN for 4 years now. I do specialize I started off at geriatrics nursing home, but now I'm strictly emergency medicine.
All right, Mirma?
Okay. My name is Mirma Alphonse Paul. I have been a nurse for about 18 years. I spent 15 years as an LPN, and I went back to school. This is my first year as an RN. So I did some other stuff before. Yeah.
All right, so we have some veterans in the game, fam. So we're going to go ahead and get into this conversation and maximize our time. So obviously, as we know, there's different changes going on in the healthcare system. There seems to be a lot of kind of overwhelm with the system, a lot more need. As those of us who may be involved in the healthcare system, whether personally or with our families, what is that one thing that we should be doing to help navigate some of the challenges and the complexities of the healthcare system? Diana, we'll start with you.
One thing I would say is, off the bat, you have to be responsible for your own care. So you go to your doctor tells you something, or they give you a pill, or they tell you to follow up with something. You need to be following up, setting those appointments, taking your medication, knowing your medication, knowing why you take the medication, what are the effects that you're supposed to look for. You have to be accountable for your own care as well. Yes, we are here to help you. We're here to navigate you, but you have to be responsible as well. So, like you said, the healthcare system is overwhelmed, so it may take months to get an appointment. If you leave and they tell you today, hey, schedule an appointment with such and such, call and schedule that appointment so that way you're closer in the line than further in the line.
Oh, that's good. Mary, anything to add to that?
Just adding that as healthcare workers, we're a team. We're on your side too. A lot of times people come in and they're defensive. They think that whatever we're doing is to hurt them, and they don't want to receive the care or the stuff that we're offering. It's good to know that we're on your side as well. We're advocating as much for you as you are for yourself.
That's a good reminder, because sometimes it's hard to remember that. For us, what are some of those common health issues? You know, when we go as African Americans, or those of us with Latina or Caribbean descent, we know that there may be some kind of common health challenges that we face. Mirma, we'll start with you. What are some of the most common health challenges that you see that we face, and then what can we start doing to work against those?
The most important one is, there's quite a few, hypertension, diabetes, but the most important thing I think for us as African Americans and brown people is that we suffer a lot from hypertension. And the reason is because we're eating a lot of processed food. A lot of our areas are food deserts where we're buying food out of the liquor store or the side store. Not everybody has a Publix next in their neighborhoods. So we don't have access to fresh food. So I find that a lot of our foods are processed, and a lot of those chemicals, some of them are even banned in other countries. And we're consuming those things daily. We're feeding them to our kids. So then we have kids that are 16, 15 with hypertension. They're overweight. So there's a lot of issues that we have, but mostly it's a lot of socioeconomic issues that's causing that. So.
Yeah, Diana, anything you would add to that?
Yes, as Black and brown people, we do face a lot of them. A lot of them is hypertension, diabetes, which can lead you to dialysis, which you don't want to be on. And a lot of people do suffer from sickle cell. It's very common in our community. And although some cancers are not common in our culture, but we do get the more aggressive form of cancer as well. So that's another thing that we do suffer from in our community. when it comes to hypertension, it's called the silent killer, and it's called that for a reason. A lot of people walk around just fine or say they're fine, but have a chronic headache, blurred vision all the time, see spots. That's not normal. That's something that you need to check on your blood pressure. So hypertension, it's called a silent killer for a reason, and that's one that really affects our community, like Mim said.
So obviously, some of these things that we're predispositioned to just biologically from DNA, hereditary, genetics, and then there's the other component of it, which we hinted on with, food, lifestyle. We know, right? We know, eat better, exercise. We know that. But the practicality of that is the challenge. If we wanted to take that first step today with eating better and or exercising, what's the low-hanging fruit? Like, what's the easy first step to start taking today? Miriam, we'll start with you.
Just hydrating, drinking a lot more water, being mindful to drink water, because sometimes we forget, and water has a lot to do with high blood pressure. So consuming water, also switching out different vegetables, instead of having a starch here, maybe, substitute it with something else, like a green leafy vegetable or something that's easier to attain. So just doing that would help as well. And instead of going to a fast food, for example, a restaurant to purchase food, you could actually buy a couple ingredients, save money, and actually cook it at home. There's meals that take less than 30 minutes to cook that you could have enough to save for another day and save money. So just avoiding the fast foods as well.
Oh, Kava, Catherine is shouting out Kava as a quick, fast, healthy alternative. Diana, any other suggestions, tips?
The easiest thing you can do is walk. Just walk, park your phone. Even if you don't have time to walk around the park or whatever the case may be, if you're at home watching TV, walk around. If you at home, you got something to do, you got a podcast to listen to, you want to re-listen to the service, whatever the case may be, walk and do that. Another thing, I know we said kava. We do everybody's like in survival mode. We work, we go to school, we got kids, we, juggling 2 jobs. Everybody has a struggle, and I definitely understand, and I, big ups to you. But we do have to be mindful of the foods that we consume. Like Mima said, one thing that we can do is alternatives. She talked about switching veggies out, but how we make the food as well. These places like Chipotle, their food is very high in sodium. So alternatives in foods, making food at home is gonna be your best friend because you know what you use. Instead of using vegetable oil, use avocado oil, things like that. So I know there's a lot of Caribbean island black and brown folks here. Does anybody use Maggi cubes to cook their food? Maggi makes the food taste really good. Do you know how much sodium is in Maggi? It matters to that blood pressure.
Also a lot of MSG, and that brings up the blood pressure.
So switching out ingredients, cooking at home, but also switching out ingredients. When people be like, I have hypertension, my husband has hypertension, my daughter has hypertension, you guys are eating the same food at the same house. Yes, you're all gonna have hypertension. So switching out alternatives to food is one of the easiest things you can do. Cooking at home and walking, staying hydrated are all the basic level of things that we can do to be better.
And actually walking helps a lot of, not just hypertension, it helps with diabetes, it helps with other diseases as well. So walking is really good.
We mentioned walking. Any other exercises, like I think a lot of folks kind of have maybe a walking routine down, either on their lunch break or before they start their day, or maybe in the evening as it's cooling down. Any other tips or suggestions on other physical exercises that we can start to slowly increment? Especially for women over 30, we hear a lot about our muscle mass is quickly depleting after 30. Weight training, anything additional into walking that we can incorporate that you think would be helpful for us? Miriam?
Swimming, for sure.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, swimming is very helpful. I've been reading that I'm trying to get into swimming to help me as well, but that it's easier to do because you're not feeling the extra weight that you're doing. But when you get out of the water, you feel it. So yeah, I would say swimming.
Oh, that's good. Easy on your joints, mobility. Okay, Diana, anything else?
There's a few things you could do at home. There's Pilates at home that you can do. Yoga is not only good for your body, but it's also good for your mind to help you wind down. Another thing, I mean, everybody likes to move around. Dancing is, you burn a lot of calories dancing and moving around. You're having fun. You're listening to music. You're doing something for yourself. But most importantly, just picking up a hobby, period. Because this day and age, we talk about now medicine's changing. One of the things is people are not as mobile. So everybody's on their phone doing things. If you're taking 30 minutes out of your day to dance, swim, walk, anything to move your body, it also gives you a break from the phone, which helps your eyes as well because you're straining your eyes being on the phone, computers all day long. But it also gives your mind a break, and it gives your body something else to do.
To add is also when you walk. It's good to walk right after you have like a dinner or before you go to bed. Yeah, it helps your glycemic index depending on the timing that you're walking.
Glycemic index meaning?
How your sugar is absorbed in your body.
Okay. Yeah. Too technical on us. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That's great insight. Thank you. I kind of want to go back a little bit to what we talked about the advocacy part of the conversation. When we're talking about the long wait times and you need to follow up and set these appointments, because particularly for specialists, you could be waiting for months to get in to see certain specialists. And then sometimes when you're in there, I don't know if others have experienced this, you feel like a cattle almost, like you're a number, we got to get you in, we got to get you out. There's no hanging around talking about what's your diet, what are your food sensitivities. You've got 5 minutes tops. And I recently discovered an integrative medicine doctor that I went to see. He did not take insurance, and I paid a pretty penny to have an hour with him because I was that desperate for some help. If we're navigating these systems and we do feel like a clog in the wheel, like a number, how can we get the most out of these very tiny windows of time with healthcare professionals? Diana, we'll start with you.
That's a really good question. I would say the best thing is, you have a doctor's appointment coming up, or you're going to the hospital, write down everything that you want to talk about. Because now they're stuck in the room. You're not, hold on, wait. You have everything. All right. I recently had a doctor's visit. I was like, hey, I know I'm anemic. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that. I'm going to need my blood work. I need my thyroid checked. And she had no choice. I boxed her in the corner. She had to answer all my questions and do everything I asked her to do, because that's the only way you're going to do it. That's the only way you're going to get it done. So you have to be an advocate for yourself. You have to know when you walk in there, you got to go in there with a plan, game plan. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that. Because it's been times that I've gone to my doctor's office and I'm like, all right, I had the MRI. And she was like, all right, you need to do this, you need to do that. Bye. This time I was like, you're not going to get me. Wrote down everything I needed to say, told her everything I needed. And if it wasn't a good plan, and it's the same thing with the ER. If you ask us, if you come in here and you ask us, hey, I need this checked, we're going to say, hey, this is not part of the plan. This is who you need to go to. We'll have the answers for you. So even if they tell you no, they'll give you no with a reason or explanation and direct you to the right path of where you need to go to get that done.
That's great. And they're not being malicious, right? It's just they're under the time constraints and the pressures as well as MDs. So, Miriam, would you add?
And you need to know when to fire your doctor. Ooh. Not every doctor is for you. Not every doctor has your best interest at heart. And when you go in, if you feel like there's not a connection, if you feel like they're not listening to you, find another doctor. You have to advocate for yourself, because not every doctor is, not everyone's in it for the right reasons.
To add on to that, there is apps and stuff that you can use, websites that you can use. There's HealthGrade, things like that. So I've chosen my doctors based off of either recommendations or HealthGrade. My dentist, I went through pages, but I found the right person that I wanted to represent me or give me my care. So in certain situations, yes, like if you come in an emergency, you may not be able to choose specifically who is giving you care, but your day-to-day doctor is your primary care doctor, any specialist that you have. One is, I know insurance is a big thing. So yes, I understand there's an insurance component, but a lot of times there's different providers under that insurance component. So yes, call your insurance. Of course, I don't want you to pay out of pocket unnecessarily for care. So call your insurance, see, hey, give me a list of doctors that takes Humana. They're gonna give you a list, you go to Health Grade and you decide, hey, this is the person I want to be giving me care.
That's good. That's good insight. As we talk about continuing on the conversation of advocacy, a lot of us may be in positions where we're having to support family members with navigating their healthcare. So you may have your own stuff, but you also may be helping either aging parents, or maybe you have children with certain different ailments and you're having to advocate for them as well. A part of that conversation goes into family history of what is going on in your family history. And as Black folks, we're not always the most open and liberal with information sometimes. We don't want people in our business, even our own family. We feel like some things can be very sensitive to talk about. When we're talking about history of family situations and how to advocate for loved ones, what's the best way? What tips do you have to help those conversations flow a little easier when it comes to opening up conversations related to family members and what they could be dealing with? Mirma, we'll start with you.
Okay. I feel like the history is very important because your doctor will know what your background is and how to help you. For example, if you have a history of breast cancer in your family, you might not have to wait to that certain age to start doing mammograms because your doctor knows that you have a risk factor that's higher than the regular person. So just being honest is really good. Your doctor is supposed to be a partner, someone that you could confide in and actually try to get results. So it's not good to hold out information because it could really be detrimental to your health.
Diana, anything to add?
I would say you gotta have open communication with your family. I understand sometimes we go through things that, we have a mom, we don't want our mom to worry, or we don't want our families to worry, but we do need to have open communication, open dialogue with our family, so that way we can get our family history as well. Like she was saying, if you are predisposed to things, you don't have to wait. So they typically say 40, you get your mammogram, but if you have a family history, it's 10 years. 10 years from the youngest person that had it. So I am 32, and I've already had a mammogram because of family history and discovered things that I, kind of was prepared for, but, had to find out the hard way what was going on because we knew family history and also the testing. Went ahead and did the testing. I had an aunt that had breast cancer at like 42, so I had to go ahead and do the genetic testing, go ahead and get the mammograms, go ahead and get the ultrasounds. Once we knew the family history, then it was time to put everything else into play as far as testing, reaching out to specialists and everything else.
Our people are typically secretive with their conditions. We don't like to share. We don't want people to know our business, like you said, but it's good for you, at least let your child know. Because you might have a grandkids that has the same condition you have, and because you kept it a secret, now you're passing on something that could have been resolved. So it's not good to hold on to certain information.
Thank you for that, Mirma. Great insight. Okay, so I think all the information we've discussed now applies to everybody across the board, regardless of gender, age. Let's get a little bit more specific and talk about, we'll first start with men and then we'll talk about women. What are some of those most common conditions or challenges that you see men face that maybe is not as common with women, and what can men in particular do to kind of navigate some of those common health challenges? Diana, we'll start with you.
Number one thing I see in men is hypertension. And men tend to suffer from strokes at a higher rate than women because of hypertension. They do not get it checked out. They do not get it regulated. And part of the reason is they don't get checked out. So for men, the biggest thing is go to the doctor. Go to the doctor, go get your 6-month checkup. Even if you walking fine, feeling fine, looking fine, you still need to get checked out because you could be dealing with something that you're not even aware of. And if you know what it is ahead of time, we know how to prevent it, how to fix it from there.
I actually work on an intermediate critical care floor. So when they're coming from the ED from being stroke ruled out, they come to my floor. So all the stroke patients are coming to our floor. So I see a lot of young Black men in their 40s on a regular basis. That's the norm for me. So, and most of the time they don't know. They don't have a history. They don't go to the doctor. They're tough. They think everything's okay, and they don't come in until it's too late. So stroke education is very something that I'm really passionate about because my father had a stroke. So that's one of the histories that I have to talk to my doctor about. So when I need certain testing done and certain things done, I'm really like, I need this done. But stroke education is very important for you to, the factors you need to know. Don't wait till you're about to drop to go to the doctors. If you're not feeling well or if you're feeling symptomatic, just go to the doctor, get checked out, get your blood pressure checked out. Another thing is their prostate. They don't like to,
I mean, we laugh, but colorectal cancer is something real serious. Women and men suffer with it, but men are a higher likely rate to have colorectal cancer.
Yeah, on that topic, there's been, I was reading a news article recently. They were talking about the recent celebrities, men in their 40s and early 50s, specifically related to prostate and colon. Chadwick Boseman several years ago. I think one of my favorite singers, D'Angelo, recently passed, and he was in his early 50s. So there seems to be more of a trend and more conversation around younger men with these different health challenges. And we talked about getting checked, and we talked about follow-up visits and visiting the doctor. But what portion of it is genetic and what portion of it is environmental and social? Like, what percentage of it would you say is something that is completely out of our control, it's just in you already, versus what could actually help prevent some of these things? If you had to give a percentage, Diana, what would you say?
I wouldn't say there's a percentage, but there are factors. So your age, your race, social, economic challenges, being male or female, those are factors that we cannot change. There's factors that we can change: your level of exercise, the way you're eating, your diet, smoking, drinking. Those are factors that we can't change. So medication regulations and diets and things like that are factors that we can't change. So I would say it's give or take 50-50. There's things that you can change, and there's things that you cannot change. But the biggest portion is going to be the other 50% of things that you can manage yourself and that you should be managing yourself, such as your diet, going to the doctor, preventative care, screenings, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Because if celebrities, these are people with all the access in the world, are still filing challenges. It's interesting. Maybe it's more of a decision-making thing, a mental thing, versus even having access to certain resources. Miriam, what would you say?
I think it's a lot to do with gut health and what we're eating. There's a lot of parasites, and there's a lot of things that are contributing to it. So these conditions are popping up when these people are in their 40s, but there's things that are in their systems like H. pylori and things that are in their guts for years, and they don't pick it up. So then it's towards the end, and it turns into these types of conditions. That's what I feel.
So going to the bathroom regularly is very important, and fiber intake as well. So we see a lot of older people with these conditions. A lot of times it's fiber related. So you need you having a bowel movement is you removing waste. So whatever your body does not use, that's what it is. It's literally waste. So if you're not going to the bathroom, you do not have the fiber. And a lot of times we don't have as much fiber as we think we're consuming. If you read your labels, a lot of things say it's either 0 fiber, 1%. So you have to be dedicated to making sure that you include fiber in your diet. But if you're not moving your bowels, you're literally holding on to waste that your body does not need.
Your body's reabsorbing it. So then your colon is it affects your colon. So a lot have to do with the gut health too, like what you're eating, the healthier, fresh foods. Those foods have more fiber in them as well than the regular processed stuff that we're eating.
It's such good insight. Related to the gut, I'm learning more about gut health now. Ashley Shanae, she said something, we were talking about this last week, and she was watching a documentary that said the gut is the second brain. And I never thought about how powerful the gut is and how it really is a regulatory system for the entire body. I never thought about it in that way until I spoke to this doctor, and he said, all of the dairy that you're eating could be fueling the inflammation in your body. And no doctor, no rheumatologist, no specialist had ever talked about food and dietary concerns related to my condition. So even if you have some insight into food sensitivities, you may not really know it unless you're testing things out, removing things from your diet, adding them back in, trying things out. That's a lot of trial and error and a lot of work. So for those of us who may want to get more insight into gut health and food sensitivities and what we're eating, where do we start? Do we start removing certain things out of our diet and trying it out and bringing them back in? Do we get certain blood tests to figure out what our food sensitivities could be? How can we start to get more insight into approaching gut health in a better way? Miriam, we'll start with you.
I've been reading a lot about fasting and just giving your gut time to heal and just rest, giving it time to process what's in there. So I would start with that first, drinking a lot of fluids and just resting your colon.
And when you say fasting, you mean like intermittent fasting, like don't eat until noon, or you're suggesting maybe don't eat anything after 5 o'clock? What's your suggestion on that?
It's different for everyone. Mm-hmm. Again, you want to speak with your doctor when you're making those type of decisions because not everybody can fast. Mm-hmm. But just giving your time, like when you're eating, you're literally breaking a fast. You were sleeping, now you're waking up. That's what breakfast is. So some people can have breakfast at 12, some people it's 2. So depending on how long you could go. Like I typically don't eat breakfast because I'm going straight to work in the mornings. Like it's usually like 11, 12 before I'm eating something. So you're just giving your body time to rest. And in doing that, it's healing itself.
Good. Diana, anything you would add?
I would say blood work lets you know where to start, and removing things that causes inflammation. Dairy is one of the biggest things that we all consume that causes inflammation in the body. And inflammation can lead to a lot of things. It can make you feel slow, draggy. It slows down your digestive tract. It makes you feel your brain fog. All those things are led by inflammation. So moving inflammatory foods from your diet, such as dairy, can definitely help you and make sure that you're incorporating fiber. So even if you don't know, like if you don't go to a doctor consistently, if you're doing things at home, I do encourage you to go to a doctor. But if you're doing things at home, like staying hydrated, moving around, incorporating fiber, having a good, healthy, balanced diet, those are things that we can do on our own to let us know, like, hey, this is working out, this is not working out for us.
Good insight. All right, family, we are going to take some questions from the audience here in a little bit. So if you've got some questions kind of churning for our nurse professionals here, go ahead and have those ready, and then we'll come around with the mic. Maybe Sam or someone can help us come around with the mic and capture some questions from you before we wrap up. So transitioning a little bit, I mean, obviously, your work is purposeful and heavy, and you see a lot, and you deal with a lot, and you have to process not only your own health, but also clearly you're passionate about what you do. And so you take that passion into every patient that you work with. But how do you protect you? Not from a physical standpoint necessarily, but from like a mental and a spiritual standpoint. What do you do to recharge, to break away when you're working double back-to-back shifts? How do you ensure that you're getting enough rest and enough clarity of mind so that you can be as sharp as you can be on the job? Miriam, we'll start with you. How do you take care of Miriam?
I wouldn't call it selfish now, but now when I get home, I need to rest. Like I need to decompress, and I need a little space, and I need peace. So as soon as I get home, I'm like, don't talk. I can't. Because you deal with so much throughout the day. My floor is a little bit critical sometimes, so you're dealing with a lot of patients that are really sick, and their families are really they want to know what's going on. They're on top of you. So when I get home, I've been going all day, like 12 hours, just going. So when I get home, I need a few minutes to just relax. So I take that. As soon as I get home, I take that. So my family knows. When I come home, don't talk to me.
Good. Diana, what about you?
I would say we deal with a high level of stress. Everybody, not just us, but everybody does a high level of stress. Everybody's always on the go, 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 go. You have to find a way to decompress. So whether it's telling your family not to talk to you when you get home or going for a walk after break, just giving your body a second to reset from the challenging day that you had is very helpful. I decompress, I go for walks, or I just shut down my phone and go to sleep. And I also do therapy as well. Therapy also helps with, your mental health as well. So that way the stress of work, life, it doesn't all jumble up together and you don't always feel like your cortisol is so high and you're just always on 10 and stressed out. So decompressing, having a support system, somebody to talk to. And like she said, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. If you just went to work and you're tired and you genuinely feel like you can't do it, it's okay to say no. You got to think about yourself.
It's okay to say no. Ladies?
They'll be all right.
And I don't feel bad about it anymore.
All right.
I used to feel bad. No, I'm not doing it.
That's part of therapy. Like they'll teach you it's okay to say no.
Good for you, yeah. On the mental component of it all, they are intrinsically tied. They are tied, physical, mental, spiritual. They are connected. And so when we think about the mental part of our health, you mentioned therapy, Diana. Other tips, other suggestions on how the mind, body, and spirit can be better integrated, how can we think about it all as one system versus these separate things? Any tips or strategies, whether it is therapy, if you have more ways of making it more accessible, more affordable. I use ChatGPT as my therapist. Any other suggestions on how you can because it's not always sometimes like a deep thing. Sometimes it's just having a listening ear or a third party who is not connected to you emotionally in any kind of way to just be a sounding board. It's not always something that has to be super deep. But any suggestions you have on that?
Family, having a support system, having a good friend. That's one way. I've used ChatGPT as well because my therapist is not available 24/7. So I've definitely used ChatGPT and she's giving me great advice. Yoga helps as well. It helps you decompress. A lot of things is mindset. One thing that I had to learn to do as well was do affirmations. It sounds silly, but I have an app called I Am. Like literally, it just tells me I'm gonna have a great day, or something so small, something you tell yourself ahead of time before you step into a situation that that may be tense. When I go to work, I'm like, it's gonna be a good shift. I walk in, I tell everybody, I smile. It's gonna be a great shift. It may not be that great, but I'm like, you know what? Nobody died. It's a great day. There's always a reason to be grateful, and I always tell God like, thank you. Nobody died on my shift today, or there's always a reason to be grateful. It's always a reason to thank God. It's always something you can reference back to our life as being Christians, so living a Christian lifestyle. And that's one thing like we talk about at work, or like sometimes my patients will have like little conversations and I'm like, the way I introduce God to people is not like, you need to go to church. It's just like they just see the light in you. They see how you act. They see how you move. They see how calm you are. And they're like, what's going on? It's God in me. And it's just like, hey, just always showing gratitude, affirmations, things like that, things decompressing your mind, you stepping away from the phone every now and again. Those are all great things that you can do to build back into yourself.
Anything you would add to that?
Yes, I feel like we have a lot of resources that we're not using. Like, for example, here at church, you have, of course, Pastor Duma and Pastor Emmelyne, but there's people sitting next to you that are like so wise that you could talk to every so often, and they're not judging you. Sometimes you just want to vent. I know I have a person that I vent to. She's all the way in Palm Beach. When I call her, she just listens. She listens and she's like, I know, girl. And then I feel better because I'm like, okay, I got it off my chest. So sometimes it's good to do that. We make it seem like having issues mentally is something like that's taboo. Like in our culture, it's like we don't want to talk about it. We're all stressed. We all have issues. We all have mental issues too. So it's good to seek out help. There's help available, so don't ever feel like there's not there. In the hospital, we even have chaplains. You know, when someone needs to talk, if I feel like someone's really sad or they're depressed and I can't get through to them, I set up a consult for them to talk to a chaplain or somebody that could actually, help them out or help them cope for a little bit. So we have resources around us all throughout our community, and we need to be able to use them.
Excellent insight, ladies. Questions? Thank you, Miss Catherine.
Hey, good morning. So this is more of a comment than it is a question. I don't normally like to do this because it's a pet peeve of mine, but I'll qualify myself. So I've worked for the last 25 years in the pharmaceutical industry, particularly around benefit management, so health insurance. So in the context of just advocacy, I just wanted to encourage you guys how important it is to advocate for yourself and your loved ones. Navigating through healthcare is very difficult. Navigating through the insurance system is very difficult. It is a broken system. Everybody agrees on that. Whether it's politics, whether it's us day to day, everybody accepts the fact that it is broken and has no way, they don't know what the solutions are. Therefore, it's important. If a decision is made by a doctor, we want to do this, we want to prescribe this, we want to give you this treatment, it may not always be covered by your insurance. There are ways to navigate through that. Prior authorizations, appeals. These are things that the insurance companies don't share with you, but if you need a treatment, if you need a medication, there are ways to navigate through the coverage end, but then there's also ways to navigate through the cost end, particularly for prescriptions. Manufacturers have copay assistance programs. So if you cannot afford the medication, they do offer copay assistance programs. So you can get covered at $0 copay for products that may be very high cost. Cancer therapies, rheumatoid arthritis. There are things, foundations are available that offer assistance to give you prescriptions at $0 copay, low dollar copay if copay assistance is not available. These are things that you don't always know about and they don't talk about, but these are things you have to advocate and fight for your loved one, fight for yourself. Super important. The other thing I'll add to that in terms of advocacy is have a treatment plan. When you work with your physician, when you work with your loved one to come up with whatever treatment plan you need to have for a condition that you have to establish it, stick to it. Why is that important? Sometimes if you go see a specialist that may not know you, if you end up in the ER, they will try and do what may not always be in alignment with your treatment plan. You have to advocate for yourself. Oh, no. That is not what my treatment plan is. That is not what my doctor prescribed. That's not what my doctor told me I need to do. Can you talk with my doctor? Can you talk with my specialist? Because they don't communicate, right? So it's important to advocate for yourself in all of these different scenarios, because I can tell you, they don't talk, they want to save, they want to do this, they want to do that. I'll give you an example, last thing, and I'll let you guys go. I had a daughter, she passed away years ago. We had a treatment plan because we knew she was not going to make it. But we had a plan on palliative care, meaning just make her comfortable. She ended up getting sick, we took her to the ER, and they're trying to save her. And doing all of these things that were very painful to her. And we had to fight with every doctor. No, don't do that. Or when she was born, we thought she was going to be born and not alive. And unfortunately, she was. And she was very healthy in the beginning. So we were like, wait, what do we do? And we wanted to take her home. Our doctor released her. But the ER doctor said, no, we can't. She needs surgery. She needs this. She needs that. No. We don't need that. Please talk to our doctor. They do. We were able to take her home. So they mean well, but it's important for you to advocate for yourself and for your loved one, whether it's at the coverage and insurance level or whether it's in the treatment side of things. Okay.
Wow, Miguel, that was powerful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you. I'm going to see a few more questions. Wow.
Yeah, I just want to address the whole supplement thing. There's so much about people over supplementing and using the wrong things and different things going on the supplement side. How do you advise people how to manage this whole supplement thing?
Honestly, I agree. People do take a lot of supplements that's unnecessary. The best thing to do is, honestly, I keep saying it, but it's true. You need to go to the doctor. You need to get your blood work done. I take supplements as well, but I have a condition. I'm anemic. I'm chronically anemic, been anemic my whole life. I take iron, but I go to the doctor. When I went to the hospital December, my hemoglobin was 8.1, borderline blood transfusion. So got that done, went to the doctor a few weeks ago. My hemoglobin is 9 point something. So it's better. It's not good, but it's better. But because I knew my blood work, I knew what I needed to do. I also had a friend that took iron pills as well, but she has a condition, a family condition. So the supplements wasn't going to do anything for her, but she wouldn't have known that if she did not do the blood work. So I do agree that we need supplements. The best way to get your dietary needs is from food, but sometimes we do not get it as Black and brown people. We don't absorb the sun as well. So vitamin D3 we are always deficient in, but that's something that you still need to get your blood work to see exactly where you are. It also helps you with a baseline. You know where you are, you know where you started, and you know what you need to do to get to where you need to be.
In response to that as well, just because there's supplements available doesn't mean that it's good for you per se. You don't know your kidney functions, you don't know your liver functions, so there's certain things that could make it worse. You think it's a healthy herb, but it could be hurting you. So it's good to speak with your doctor before you do that so you could know exactly what condition your body is in before you're taking these types of supplements as well.
Couple of things. You did say your blood work. So would you advise when you do get your blood work that because I know for me, I go to Quest, I get my blood work back before the doctor does or at the same time. So I can look at my blood work online, I print it out, although they'll give you a printout at the doctor's office. My doctor does, I'll speak personally. But I make them go over it so that I can understand what those numbers mean. I don't know what that means. What is that? And so is that one of the things that when you're saying blood work, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, definitely. And like you said, you're being accountable for your own care as well. So if you don't know what something means, it's not just, oh, okay, they didn't go over it. You know, I have a question, I don't know what RDW is on my blood work. It was low. What does that mean? So that's their job, is to educate. Our job is to educate as well. So if you don't know what something means, write it down so that when you do go to your doctor's office, you're like, hey, I did my blood work. This is what it is. Also, don't be afraid to ask what blood work request blood work as well. So if they tell you they're doing a CBC, CMP, lipase, T3, you're like, okay, what does that mean? So that way you know exactly what blood work, like, okay, well, I've been feeling weak. I have a family condition of this. Can we add this test as well? So that way you work collaboratively with your doctor. So you're a client to them. That's how they call it. They do it all the time. They call you a client. So you're in charge, really. You guys work together, but you're in charge. You say, hey, this is what I need. This is what I need. We're going to talk about this together and figure out what's going to be best for me or what's going to be best for my family member, whomever you're speaking for.
And there are testing that they might be ordering that you might not think you need. Like she was saying, that you might need to do your own research. Like I Google everything. Before I go in there, I know what that letter, if I get it from Quest, for example, I will go through each line. I know what it means before I go ask you. That way I make sure you're giving me the right answer as well. So you have to also be able to find out your own answers sometimes. Because there's going to be time where they're not going to be able to tell you everything or go into detail as to what that means. So you might not know the importance of keeping your hemoglobin high, for example, and don't take your medication. So it's good to know like the side effects and what can happen if it's low. That way, when you go to your doctor, you could ask for certain things.
The part two of that is having a medical power of attorney, is that something that you advocate for? To, yes, do mental health as a mental health clinician, please do mental health. We all have issues. So please, I have my own therapist. I am a therapist, but you still need to do it. So I thank you for saying that. But again, do you advocate that people really understand what a medical power of attorney is and does?
Yes, you should definitely have a power of attorney. Not only a power of attorney, but you also need to speak to your family about what your plans is, what you want for yourselves. Like you guys are saying, you guys went through a situation, you guys collaboratively came up with a plan with your doctor and let you know, hey, this is what I want. I want palliative care. I want her to be comfortable. So coming up with a plan with your family, even though your family may not agree, they may not like it, it's your plan, it's what you want, but you want it to be known. There's plenty of times we've got into a situation, Mima don't have a plan of action, Mima's intubated, cannot speak for herself, and we have family fighting. It's like, okay, well, who has power of attorney? Yep. You have power of attorney? This is the person that we're speaking to. And you never want to be put in a situation where you have no say.
This is very important because I remember giving a packet to my parents a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, there's, again, as Black and brown people, we don't want to talk about those things. Those are, again, taboos. We don't want to talk about it, and we want to make sure that everybody's full code and we do everything for them. But those conversations are necessary. Those conversations can have siblings not talking to each other for years. And it's your decision. Now you're leaving it into your two kids to make those decisions. You could be gone and you're causing enemies for life. It's very important that you take that time to write down what you want. It's your life. It's not fair that you would have to leave it into somebody else to make those decisions. Granted, we could make good decisions. We could know you and say, okay, I know what she would want. But if you're here, you're with, and you're sane and you can make those decisions, write them down now. That way, when something happens, if something happens, something will happen, actually. When it does happen, at least they know, what your wishes are. What do you want? And then we'll respect that. The hospital is very big on those things. Every single person that comes into my floor, that's a conversation we have with them. What do you want? Do you want us to do CPR on you? Do you want us not to do this? And sometimes we have family members that are right there. They're like, no, mommy, no, you do want this. And she's like, no, I don't. And we're like, okay, she's alert, she's of sound mind, she could make her own decision, so we're gonna go with what she says. So we'll advise her to write it down, that way your family knows. So it's just basically it's a good thing to have, just your wishes. It doesn't matter what it is, either way, there's no wrong or right, but just let your family know.
And I don't want you guys to wait too long. I'm 32, I know what I want. So it's not about an age thing. You don't want to wait until, I'm young, I'm healthy. It's not about that. Tragedies happen every day. Car accidents happen every day. That's, you have to, once you get to an age where I'm not telling little kids, but as an adult, once you get to the age hey, I don't think I want this, or I do want this done, talk to your family about it. Put it in writing, so that way there is no fuss, there is no fight about it. So even at a young age, a younger age, you still need to know, hey, this is what I would want in the case of an emergency. Or you can appoint a power of attorney, hey, this is, Kelda, if something ever happened to me, I'm gonna need you to step up and make decisions for me. So appoint a power of attorney or actually have it in writing is the best two things to do.
That's insight.
Yeah, that is. There's three, and I'm going to come. This is the piggyback off of that. So the power of attorney, just to clarify, it is the individual who makes medical decisions on your behalf in the case you're incompetent or not able to make decisions, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and just to confirm, because I know we went through this process with my mom. My oldest brother was the power of attorney. Although I have 4 siblings, we still were on one accord. We had a text group. We were always communicating about my mom's process, health, and so it's really important to stay on one accord with that, because although you may have a power of attorney, it's still good to incorporate your other family members, siblings, and don't disregard them and think you're just going to do whatever you want to do, because it can cause a lot of dysfunction in the family. But that power of attorney I know it is something we had to, and maybe y'all can verify this. It is an actual physical document that is a legal document that's signed by you, and do you have to get it notarized, or what does that legal process look like with accessing your power of attorney forms?
So there's different ways you can do it. I know Florida, every state has their own way to legally do it, but it does have to be a notarized documentation. Yes. The person that is signing it does have to be alert oriented, can make their own decision. So grandma with dementia cannot make that decision. It would have to be, and then that's another thing. Sometimes people, do have dementia. You need a doctor that says that they're clinically cannot make decisions for themselves. Sign off for it so that way you can have that power of attorney. And if there is not a power of attorney, the next person in line is next of kin, is the one that makes decisions. So I know sometimes it's husband or wife. Mom feels like she's gonna come in and step in and make decisions. It's next of kin, it's gonna be the husband. So that's another thing you have to consider as well.
That's good. That's good. I think we have 3 questions. I haven't forgotten. 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
All right, I'll make mine quick. Earlier you were speaking about decompressing when you come home. You said you do therapy. Can you expand on that? Because my mind went with, you go to an office for therapy, or do you do some kind of therapy at home? So what did you mean by that?
So there's different resources we talk about. That's another thing. We want to make sure that we're using all our resources. I have insurance, so I was able to use Better Health, find my therapist. I'm very big on picking who is going to take care of me. I was able to select a Haitian therapist, so that way if I say something in Creole, she understands what I'm saying. A young lady, I wanted her to be around my age so we could more so relate. But I was able to use Better Health through my insurance. Better Health, I was able to click down my insurance so that way I could make sure that the person is a network. I also have 2 jobs, so I was kind of like transitioning back and forth. So I did talk to her as well and say, hey, if I do not have their insurance anymore, what would be the payments are like? So sometimes we think that we cannot afford things, but we can. We just need to, like you talked about as well, we think that we can't afford things, and we very much so can. You just have to figure out what is going to be the best thing for you. So there's different websites. I personally use BetterHelp to find my therapist through my insurance. But she also gave me a price once I didn't have insurance, and if I felt like that was manageable, then I was going to continue with her.
Can I answer your question? Okay.
Got another?
All right, so 1, 2, 3.
Okay, good morning. Many of us rely on traditional remedies or natural treatments. How can we safely combine those with modern medicine?
Great question.
Again, you need to speak with your doctor, get your lab works. Like I was saying earlier, not everybody can process everything. You might have allergies that you don't know that you have. So there's certain medications certain herbs that you could be taking that could affect current medications that you're taking. So you have to be mindful of that. So just be careful and speak with your doctor. Make sure that you're in compliance, one. And some stuff your doctor might not want you to take, and you go along with it. And there's stuff that you might, know more about, or you research a little bit more, and you know your family background and your body, and you still take it. Like for me, I take bitter melon. I'm diabetic. I take bitter melon, and it brings my sugar down. So, but some people would say don't take it because it affects your blood work. So, once you've done your research and you know what works for you, then then you could go with that.
So another thing I would say to add on to that is knowing the medication that you take as well. So knowing medication and its effect and what the side effects are. So that way if you take this, then can it collaborate with that? One thing I would say, people do take turmeric, for example. We take turmeric. Turmeric can act as a natural blood thinner. So if you're taking turmeric and you're taking a blood thinner such as Coumadin, Eliquis, Plavix, anything like that, you're higher at risk for bleeding. So you need to make sure that you're being careful with that. So talk to your doctor in collaboration. Write down your natural herbs that you take and also your medication as well. Your doctor's not there to judge you, so you have to be open and honest with them as well. You can also do the research yourself, but also make sure you're in collaboration with your doctor, so that way natural herbs do affect medication, and that's the thing. Sometimes if we don't know, so we've seen situations where people have a reaction to a medication before, and it's because they're taking a natural herb. So it is very important that we're open and honest in telling our doctor we're taking this supplement and this medication, so that way if they do add on a medication, we know what the side effects are and things to look out for, and if those medications can go together. Like if you take an antibiotic, I encourage you to take a probiotic because it's good for your gut health, because antibiotics kills all bacteria. So it kills all bacterial organisms if it's sensitive to that bacteria. But the probiotic helps keep good bacteria in your gut. You cannot take antibiotics and probiotics together at the same time. You could take them an hour apart, a few hours apart, just not at the same time, because basically they're fighting against each other. So that's the whole thing with taking natural herbs and medication. You want to make sure that you're taking them at the right time and if they interact with each other.
Hi, good afternoon. I was wondering, my mom, she has a primary doctor. We've been going to this doctor for years and years, but recently her insurance, they've been calling to send someone to the house. And I keep telling them, hey, we have a doctor, she has everything that she needs. But it seems to me that they're trying to make us feel that I'm doing something wrong by not allowing them to come into the home to check. So how do I advocate for her and saying, we already have somebody that's in place, I trust them, they have been taking care of her, with everything that we've done too. How do I advocate for her in that aspect, if you can?
I think that you can, but a lot of times, like he was saying, the insurances have a lot of stuff in place that we're not using. There's a lot of funding that's available. Like, for example, she might be able to get a sitter to come sit with her for 2 hours and do her nails, but we're not using those resources. So it could be because of that, I'm not sure. But I would reach out to the insurance company and just clarify what exactly they're trying to do, or what do they need to come in. I don't think they're coming in to just, be nosy to whatever. Maybe there's a resource that you might be qualified for based on her age and her condition that you're not tapping into. That's what I'm thinking.
I was going along the same lines. I'm not exactly sure 100% all the details, but like she said, there's a lot of resources that we do not use. You pay for insurance every month. Make them people work for you. If they are wanting to send somebody home to give her a bath, take a walk around the block, let them do it. So that way you can have 5 minutes to yourself. So a lot of times it's like, I'm not sure the details, but they do offer like home health services. Insurances offer home health services that we don't know about. Yeah. They also offer rides to doctor's appointment that we don't know about. They have resources that you can use, so that way it kind of takes the load off of you as the healthcare giver, because a lot of times when we care for other people, we tend to forget about ourselves. They have respite care as well, so that way respite care is somebody comes in, steps in, helps take care of the family member while you have a little break. So I'm not sure the details, but I would, like she said, I would call insurance. It's nothing wrong with asking questions. Somebody's doing something that you're not unsure of. It's your body, it's your life, it's your home. If somebody's doing something that you're not sure about, feel unsafe about, or questioning, question them. Don't be afraid to, hey, what's going on? I see somebody keeps coming on. What is the reason? They will be open and honest with you, and they'll let you know, hey, we're doing this because X, Y, and Z. Always ask them questions. And if they give you that resource, use it.
So good. I think we've got time for 2 more questions.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, thank you so much for this beautiful panel concerning human life. And I was late because I am running 2 things at the same time, but I would love to see my daughter. And because everywhere I am, everywhere I am or be, she always right behind me. And I have a lot this morning, but I say I need to see her. That's my right arm. And I thank you so much. I learned a lot. Even I was late, I learned a lot, and I keep learning from you, everyone. And I don't know if it's a question, but when I was listening, I heard no. You have to say no, and then it's okay to say no. And I just didn't have to know before I say what I'm going to say. Know about what, and then just yeah. And that
You
was
could
it.
tell I've told her a couple no's.
Know about anything that you do not want to do or feel uncomfortable doing.
For example,
For example, okay, you just come from work, for example. You had a 12-hour shift and someone's calling you, hey, I need to take me shopping. I need whatever. Something simple or basic. It's not life, life or death. I could say no because my feet hurt. I'm tired. I need to rest. So I could say no and then say, okay, maybe we'll do it tomorrow or in 2 days when I'm available. Sometimes when people tell you no, it's not personal. It's because they have to, you have to protect your mental health as well. Sometimes you saying yes me saying yes to you can hurt me at that time, but I'm trying to please you. You understand? So although we want to make you happy as children, of course we want to make our mama happy. I do not like saying no to my mom, but every so often, depending on the type of day that you've had, I can't. You have to say no. And when people tell you no, you have to just respect that and say, okay, I understand. It's not personal, It's nothing to do with you per se. I'm not saying no because I'm angry or I'm not happy or I don't want to make you happy. It's just because right now, mentally, I can't,
okay. I understand, and we're dealing with nurses, families, and everything, and every one of us. Communication is our whole life, and how we communicate, and we can say always no. And I teach my granddaughter to say no when is no. If you can say no, there's a forcing to say no, or say no, or just no. And I say no, and I mean it, because I love communication. And I deal, and I look like someone which is hyper. I'm not. I love peace. But in my family, and I teach my children to learn how to communicate. Right. I know they educate a lot, but communication. Right. And when you say no for something, the person will understand it depend the way you say no. I understand nurses have a lot, nurses, doctors, not whoever in the health department feel tired. Like I used to do a lot of night CNA, and then become other stuff. But I always on my feet. Hairdresser, I'm a hairdresser. My feet always hurt. But we always have a way, because when we have family coming from work, sometimes if you're married with a doctor or a nurse, maybe you know better. If it's a different person, but both of us have to understand that. And then that doesn't mean because I am a nurse or a doctor that I have to say no for everything all the time. Because we have to find a way to say the no. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like saying no. I have a stroke husband. Sometimes I feel like saying no, but I have to make him happy to even not really this is what I want. But I try to make him happy because it's already have a problem. Men is not like women, so they easy to depress, to feel bad thinking about other stuff than us. We have more distraction, so we can do. So what I'm trying to encourage you, family, trying while you're working, making money, the money or whatever money you have, that's not going to make you happy if whom not happy. So we just have to put together, everything together to survive, because this is what I've been doing with my husband. My husband never worked for 20 years, and then now we still survive. We survive because communication. I want to guide young people, so try to pray and ask God, because it is hard when you're nursing. see just your patient die, it is hard on you. I understand. But I'm going to ask everyone, all of us, to be patient with each other because life is so precious when we can try it. Yeah. This is my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
It's definitely a balance, like she says. You can say it is definitely a balance. When you come home to decompress, you definitely have to get back up and do what you need to do, you know? But that moment, you feel like you need it at that time. But I get it, Mama, I'll say less no to you.
But like she said, part of what she was trying to say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. No can be a full sentence. No can be a full sentence. But we can also say, hey, not at this time. It's still saying no, but just saying, hey, at the moment, I'm unable to, without ever having to over-explain yourself. Just saying, at this moment, I cannot.
And you be receptive to understanding the no, you know, where they're coming from when they're saying that. Yeah.
Right. And it's having empathy, like she's saying, care for one another. You gotta have empathy. I don't know what she got going on. She don't know what I got going on. If she's telling me she cannot do it, or she's telling me she needs me to pray for her, whatever the case may be, I don't know what she has going on. I have to have empathy for her. Even if you see, wherever you may work, nursing is customer service too. If you work at a customer service job, if you work as a teacher, whomever or whatever you may do, you may have somebody that's angry coming in. It's never personal. They have whatever they have going on. We just have to have empathy, communicate for one another, but also care for ourselves too.
Yeah. That's really good.
Well said.
We have one more question.
Hello. I just wanted to add something to what you all said about prostate cancer for the Black community, Black men. I know you all thought it was funny, but when you have someone you love who is going through this, when it is avoidable. Prostate cancer is avoidable. When you look at the numbers, your counterparts are not dying at the same rate of prostate cancer. It is an avoidable cancer. If you go and get checked, it is avoidable. Everybody here, maybe not everybody, but someone, you have a woman in your life, an auntie, a sister who, loves you and cares for you. Go get checked. It might be, it's a head thing. Go get checked. It's avoidable. It should not be killing people at the rates that it does in the Black community. Mm-hmm. As young as 28, people are being diagnosed.
It's actually one of the easiest cancers to treat. Yes. And yet it's killing more of our Black and brown people. And I'm not sure if the stereotype is how you're getting tested. You have to bend over and they have to test, feel your prostate. So a lot of men feel uncomfortable that they have to go through that process. They feel like it's degrading, or they have to they feel less than that they have to do that. And sadly enough, it's part of our history. I don't know if you know it's part of our history that for men in that, it's a very sensitive subject. But when you think about that, something so simple can lead into death. Something that's treatable, like she was saying, because of, you don't want to get tested or get checked, it could take you out, and now you're no longer here. You're not here to provide for your family. Your children can't, they're not benefiting from certain things because you're not here. So it is easily treatable. If it's one of the easiest cancers to treat. I was, looking into it, but for some reason, we have to get comfortable with getting checked. The other cultures, the other people are getting tested. Whatever's available, whatever they have access to, they're doing because they want to be here. But we can't let our ignorance, for example, or fear stop us from getting tested for whatever it is. So I agree.
Yeah, and that's for any cancer. Early detection is going to be your best friend. The best thing to do when you take a shower, you're decompressing. That's the best time. You look at your body. You check yourself. Women, you do your checks. Men, check your scrotum. There's so many things that you can do. Is everything, have to know your baseline. Well, we talked about blood work as well, but your body baseline. Am I having discharge from my nipple? Is that normal? Have I seen that before? Is my nipple inverted now? Did I have this wrinkle here before? That's the best time to check yourself. When you're in the shower, looking at yourself, look at yourself, touch your body, feel your body. You're washing your body anyways. But cancer, early detection is going to be your best friend.
Family, can we give these incredible professionals?
This audio will be available so that you'll be able to listen to it on Spotify, iHeart Apple Podcasts. All you have to do is look for CrownOrl.